Good afternoon, and welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. This program is sponsored by the Southwest TV Translator Association and supported by the Dolores County Broadcasting Network as seen on DCTV Channel 32.1.
The News at Noon program is the best news in the Four Corners area. We deliver a variety of news relevant to the Four Corners region.
We'd love to hear from you, so contact us with what you want to see covered. With that said, I'm Kendra Cook and my co-host is Jerry Tope. Here's what's happening in the news for September 7th, 2016. High-speed chases aren't just for California. The Cortez Journal reported on a high-speed car chase Monday on U.S. Highway 550 just south of Silverton, which ended when the vehicle went off the road and crashed into a tree, the San Juan County Sheriff's Office said. A post on the Sheriff's Office Facebook page said around 6:45 p.m. on the Big Bend just outside Silverton, deputies attempted to stop a vehicle whose driver was suspected to be driving under the influence. The vehicle attempted to elude two cop cars in a high-speed pursuit. The vehicle was reportedly stolen out of La Plata County. Around mile marker 62.5, the vehicle went off the road and crashed into a tree. The sheriff's office said no officers or bystanders were hurt in the incident, but the driver was transferred to Mercy Regional Medical Center by ambulance in custody. A female passenger was taken by Mercy by helicopter due to the severity of her injuries. The two are reported as being husband and wife, though the sheriff's office as of Tuesday morning did not confirm their identities. The incident is being investigated by Durango Police Department and San Juan County Sheriff's Office.
Reported in the Durango Herald, the story of a Labor Day hike on Missionary Ridge that led to a rainy night in the wilderness for a 75-year-old local man and his black Labrador Sprite. Neither suffered injuries, only the rain and cold, which made for hypothermic conditions. La Plata County emergency responders rescued the man at 8:05 a.m. Tuesday, about 2 miles downhill from where he was last seen, northeast of Henderson Lake. He went missing on a trail in the Mountain View Crest area north of Durango around 3 p.m. Monday. Returning from a day hike, the man and his dog were walking ahead of about 10 friends on the trail. La Plata County Search and Rescue President Ron Korkish also said that when the rest of the group reached their cars at the trailhead, they realized the man was missing. At least one of the party had a Colorado Outdoor Search and Rescue card, which helps fund SAR organizations. Crews deployed a Flight for Life helicopter to scour the terrain until about midnight, then renewed their efforts Tuesday morning with search canines. Monday night, storms hit Durango and the man's rain jacket was unhelpfully left on his kitchen counter, Korkish said. The man had a day pack with him, but the contents are unknown. Korkish said the man likely did not or could not light a fire because searchers would have seen it from the air Monday night. No other details were available about how the subject got off course or survived the night. The mission came on the heels of a long day at Cascade Creek, where La Plata and San Juan County emergency responders rescued 6 waterfall jumpers, which Kelsey reported on yesterday. Local search and rescue organizations have retrieved at least 12 individuals from Cascade Creek this summer, in addition to nearly a dozen more lost or injured hikers at Windham Peak, Engineer Mountain, and Waimanuche Wilderness area.
In national political news, attention on Colorado, the report in the Durango Herald says that a national poll released Tuesday shows Republican Donald Trump and Democrat Hillary Clinton essentially are tied headed into the heart of the election season. Trump edges Clinton by just 2 points, according to the new CNN ORC poll. Trump would best Clinton 45% to 43% on November 8th, according to the survey. That's pretty much a tie when you consider the margin of error factor. Libertarian Gary Johnson polls at 7% among likely voters, and the Green Party's Jill Stein comes in at just 2%, according to that report. The poll reflects statements made by both camps over the past 2 months, in which the two campaigns said they expected polls to tighten in September and October. In battleground Colorado, several polls had Clinton with a double-digit lead over Trump, though Clinton's campaign has tried to fight that narrative. For Clinton, her greatest enemy could be apathy, as Democrats and left-leaning unaffiliated voters might think Trump has no chance of winning the election and sit it out. One issue facing Clinton, especially in Colorado, is millennial voters. Many had been wooed by Bernie Sanders during the contested Democratic primary. Others simply aren't enamored with Clinton. In a state like Colorado with a lot of younger voters, millennials could push the election over the top, especially for Clinton. While she holds a significant lead with millennials, the campaign says there is work to do. Poetry competitions streaming live music on Facebook, and even registering voters by playing Pokemon Go have been strategies employed by the Clinton campaign. There are 10 dedicated campus organizations in Colorado for Clinton. One boost in Colorado this year could be an all-male election, which has favored Democrats in the past. For the Trump campaign, the CNN poll indicates an important factor headed in their direction, and that's unaffiliated voters. Trump has an edge, with 49% of unaffiliated voters, while just 29% back Clinton, according to the CNN poll. In Colorado, a third of voters are registered as unaffiliated. We are campaigning hard in Colorado, and Hillary loses voters each day as more and more details emerge of her illegal pay-to-play scandal at the State Department, where she traded official access for donations to the Clinton Foundation from foreign governments, said Trump Colorado Director Patrick Davis. He's referring to claims that Clinton's nonprofit accepted donations from other countries while she was Secretary of State, creating a conflict. Clinton also is followed by controversy over using a private email server during her time in office. Voters of all ages and backgrounds are tired of the same old Washington corruption and backroom deals, Davis continued. They will vote for change in November. Be sure to register to vote, and why not go online to research all of the candidates you have the opportunity to vote for or against and find out about the ballot issues before November 8th.
When Paul and Cree Black found hops growing on the ranch they manage in Pine River Valley, they thought they were weeds, according to a story in the Durango Herald. But after talking with a neighbor and doing a bit of research, they found that what they thought were weeds were actually a strain of hops that was brought over in the 1800s by homesteaders. They also found there was a shortage of hops, which is a key ingredient in beer. So they decided to try raising hops, an arm of the business called Pine River Hops, to supplement their hay and cattle business. Cree Black also runs a wedding venue at the 100-acre LJ Ranch called La Platte's Pond. Now, in their fourth season of growing hops, they supply brewers in Durango, Pagosa Springs, Silverton, and Albuquerque. They've really liked the hops so far. It's been kind of huge for us, Paul Black said. They planted Chinook, Cascade, and Nugget hops based on advice from Fort Lewis College researchers who've been looking into which varieties of hops will grow best in this climate. La Plata County's elevation has proven to produce a high-quality hop, and the Blacks hope to expand from about an acre, which produces several thousand pounds, to 10 acres. They also want to build a facility within the next year that could pelletize hops. Breweries use many more pelletized hops than fresh or dried ones. It would cut out the need to truck it out of the area, and it could serve other local hop farms. The Blacks want to keep their business as local as possible, and they see small breweries as their niche. Paul Black said most hop farmers are in Oregon and Washington, and many of the largest breweries can contract with the largest producers to buy all their hops. As for the hops that inspired the idea, they're working on getting the variety patented, but it's not for sale yet.
The Grand Canyon is the latest site of conflict arising from public-private partnerships and best land management planning, reported in the Cortez Journal. A bill introduced on August 29th by the Navajo tribe's lawmaking body, Navajo Nation Council, is reviving a years-long controversy over development in the Grand Canyon. The bill would approve development of the Grand Canyon Escalade, a $1 billion project that calls for an amphitheater, gondola, and assortment of restaurants, hotels, and shops at the confluence of the Little Colorado and Colorado Rivers, an undeveloped part of Navajo Nation that many tribal members consider sacred. If passed, the legislation would require the tribe to pay $65 million, likely by taking out a loan, to build roads and lay power lines for the development, as well as lease 420 acres of land to Confluence Partners, LLC, a private company based in Scottsdale, Arizona. The bill's sponsor, Benjamin Bennett, couldn't be reached for comment, but his legislation cites an overwhelming need for employment and economic development in the region and claims that the Escalade project would bring in about 3,500 jobs. Navajo Nation would also receive an 8 to 18% of Escalade's gross revenue. The legislation was a gut punch to environmental groups and tribal advocates who oppose the development. In the last 18 months, the emergence of a long-standing sexual harassment problem has thrown Grand Canyon's management into turmoil and thrust conservation issues like stopping Escalade farther from the public's attention. Meanwhile, Escalade proponents doubled down on their efforts to green greenlight the project. Now, Bennett's legislation proposal has moved the development another step forward. If the bill reaches Navajo Nation's President Begay's desk, the president seems likely to veto it. He wrote in an email to High Country News that he remains strongly opposed to Escalade. But if Bennett can garner more than 2/3 of the council's support, 16 of 24 votes, the council can override a presidential veto. Save the Confluence and the environmental group American Rivers are mobilizing constituents to sign petitions and submit comments within the council's 5-day window, which ends Saturday, to try to sway the undecided legislators. After the comment period ends, the measure will go before several council committees and could be voted on by late October. Even if passed, the Hopi tribe could sue in federal court, since the development might violate the terms of a 2009 agreement requiring each tribe to honor the other's sacred sites. And now, let's take a look at the weather.
So close and yet so far is the phrase for today. The National Weather Service staff in the Grand Junction office can do as good a job as can be done to forecast general conditions for our Four Corners broadcast area. And pretty early on, they were saying that Newton would not bring moisture to our region. Last night and in the wee hours this morning, some clouds were briefly over us. However, they've mostly evaporated, and Newton's remnants are still trying to work over Arizona, New Mexico, and the half of West Texas, even as there is zero chance of any of it here. That's what the NWS folks are still emphatically saying. Newton's activity level will lighten up some today, but will continue in southeastern Arizona and New Mexico through tomorrow, and mudslides and flash flooding and heavy rainfall are still a moderate risk for those areas. This is due to the westerly flow, and it's aided by a wide area northeastern Pacific inland push that's keeping it from coming north far enough to reach us. This is a good thing for as long as it lasts. As far as bean harvest goes, though, nevertheless, beware, you bean guys and gals. Sunday, another trough from the Pacific Northwest will begin to draw moisture into the area, and by sometime Tuesday we may see the start of a few days of wetter weather. Otherwise, the rest of this week should still be pretty great and grand. The low pressure area off the northeast coast, that is what remains of Hermine, continues to weaken, and Long Island and southeastern New England coastal flooding and gusting winds will diminish today. Thunderstorms and showers will cover a broad area from the Central Plains to the upper Midwest, with some scattered cells as well all along that front. The Storm Prediction Center is forecasting a slight risk for severe thunderstorms to develop across the east side of the Dakotas and western Minnesota today. Heavy rain will be possible, especially for the upper Great Lakes and upper Mississippi Valley, and some flooding is possible there. On Thursday, another disturbance will move into the northern plains. The northern portion of the system will move to the east across the Great Lakes, while areas of showers and thunderstorms continue farther south from the central and southern plains to the mid-Mississippi Valley. Mid-August until mid-October is the peak of hurricane season. September the 10th is the day you are most likely to find a tropical cyclone somewhere in the mid-Atlantic basin. In our 5-day forecast, mid-lower 80s declining to mid-70s over the 5 days upcoming, with lows expected to reach down into the 40s, and mild breezes and wonderful fall work weather. What a deal and a bargain.
As reported in the Durango Herald, for those who love Apple and have been anticipating today's launch of the iPhone 7, Ski Town Computing is a new option in Durango for getting your high-tech toys fixed. Owner Marcus Worthen said, originally started in Steamboat Springs in 2013, Ski Town is an Apple specialist, meaning it can sell, repair, and train customers to use Apple products. When Worthen found out that Connecting Point in Durango was going out of business, he decided to buy its assets and open on the corner of 13th Street and Main Avenue. The move received Apple's blessing based on how many people live in the county. Apple is also allowing Ski Town to expand its offerings. On September 1st, the store was cleared to start repairing iPhones, iPads, and Apple Watches. It is the only company in the Northwest and Southwest Colorado with this ability, which is granted based on store metrics. Previously, the store could only repair laptops and desktops. The only thing the company can't help with is a broken screen, but the staff can give you a loaner phone until Apple can repair the device. For those with older Apple devices, the company will also run free diagnostics to see what can be done to extend its life. Worthington, we'd like to keep as much out of the landfill as possible. The big news today would be whether or not the new iPhone is designed without a headphone jack. An interesting development if the rumors are true, as in May of 2014, Apple had purchased the major audio equipment and music company called Beats that is mostly known for its headphones. Apple stock is trading fairly steady around $107 a share.
For years, researchers have believed that climate change may be driving the American pika populations from mountainous regions in the American West. A study released last week further confirms their suspicions. Even in areas with abundant habitat, American pikas are having a hard time surviving due to climate changes. This finding was published in the Cortez Journal from a High Country News report. Researchers looked at 910 locations of the legomorph in 3 mountainous regions, including the Great Basin, Northeast California, and southern Utah, to see how well the populations are surviving, and found that many of them had disappeared, leaving their peppercorn-sized droppings and rounded hay piles as the only evidence they were there. It is said that pikas are herbivorous, smaller relatives of rabbits and hares, but they still look like a short-tailed mouse to me. There is a Chinese species that's a lot less mouse ugly. The pika is considered to be an indicator species because of their sensitivity to aspects of climate. Even brief exposures to temperatures over 77 degrees will kill them if they're unable to cool their body temperatures. In 2010, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service decided not to protect the pika under the Endangered Species Act, citing insufficient evidence that climate change would cause its extinction and noting that there was still habitat available at higher elevations. The latest study, along with a number of others on pika habitat and survival, has given researchers a more refined idea of how pikas are faring in their talus field homes. Now, even in remote areas where pikas used to live, rising temperatures and declining snowpack have pushed them out. Findings that may bode poorly for other mountain-dwelling mammals who may be displaced by changing climate. The 44% decrease in sites with pika populations in the Great Basin, along with their findings in other states, have shown that climate change is having a real impact on pika populations right now. A study found pikas in Zion National Park in Utah in 2011, and another study found them persisting as recently as 2012. By the time of this study, done in 2014 and 2015, there were none to be found.
Here's a unique take on creativity in recycling from the Cortez Journal. Deborah Kelly Gallen of Mancos has patented a process to recycle Ziploc-type freezer and sandwich bags. The process is similar to the geologic forces that create layers of rock and transforms large amounts of bags into materials that imitate stone. These stone-like pieces can look just like our southwestern turquoise. Kelly Gallen noticed that this issue while working as a museum curation assistant and archaeological illustrator at the Anasazi Heritage Center in Dolores. Discarded bags from tourists were building up on public lands. The process is tricky because bags of this type are designed to be non-reactive with other materials, she said. It took years to secure a patent, but Kelly Gallen said she has recycled nearly 1,800 pounds of bags. The material behaves like elements of nature. Since 2013, Kelly Gallen has been selling her bracelets exclusively at the gift shop of the Anasazi Heritage Center. She has collected mostly bags that have accumulated on national monuments, parks, and other public lands. Her process connects the culture with the land and pays tribute to the resourceful attitudes of the ancestral Puebloans who occupied these areas centuries ago. The material has artistic and industrial potential, she said. Since the imitation stone resembles turquoise, artists may be able to use the material for their projects. As precious stone quarries become more and more scarce, the process could provide another artistic resource. Any color of stone could be replicated with the process, though turquoise is of special interest because fewer mines are producing it, Kelly Gallen said. It has other aesthetic potential, such as use in architectural facades. The process could be used to make a denser material, but Kelly Gallen is unsure whether it could be used as a building material. Kelly Gallen's invention could potentially solve the problem of accumulating bags on public lands. She hopes the process is used to create things in a meaningful context. She said, if every institution, park, or national monument accumulated these bags, we could really affect the community.
Now continuing updates from the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of August 29th through September 4th. Town residents reported juveniles racing ATVs and motorcycles on town streets. A county resident reported pickups racing down Highway 141. A deputy responded but was not able to locate them. A county resident reported a broken tractor window, and a deputy is investigating. A complaint was received about unruly people at the hot springs in Rico, and the Rico town marshal contacted them. Officers responded to an intoxicated pedestrian in town. The pedestrian was placed into protective custody and delivered to their residence. A report of a distress signal from hikers on Mount Wilson was made, requesting a GPS location for a route down. The hikers were able to make their way back safely to the trailhead. San Miguel County was assisted on a single vehicle motorcycle accident on Slick Rock. 2 people on horseback were reported overdue from near the Geyser Springs area. A deputy responded to the call. The riders made their way down on their own. And a dog at large in town was reported as aggressive toward a pedestrian with their leashed dog. Animal control was contacted. That's it for this week's Roundup. We'll have more for you again next week.
And in today's High Country happenings, the 3rd annual Mancos Fall Harvest Festival will take place September 11th. Participants at the family-friendly potluck meal are asked to bring tables and chairs, which will line Grand Avenue near Main Street. Prizes will be given for historic costumes from pre-1900, 1901 to 1940, and 1941 to the 2000 eras. A male and female winner will be selected in each category. Setup begins at 4:30 p.m. with costume judging at 5 p.m. and the shared meal at 5:30 p.m. The Mancos Public Library will have activities for children. Sign up for the costume contest at the judges table in the community center. Sponsors are the Mancos Creative District, Mancos Grange, and the local library. For more info, email Linda Simmons at mixteca4@gmail.com or Rena Wilson at sundance@rmi.net. Durango Nature Studios will host a fall volunteer naturalist educator program and training session from 6 to 8:30 p.m. on September 8th at the Durango Public Library and September 9th and 10th from 8:30 to 4 p.m. at the Nature Center. Participants can become fully qualified volunteer naturalists who will lead science-based hikes for 2nd, 3rd, 5th, and 7th grades. Although prior teaching experience is beneficial, it is not required. Space, however, is limited. Please call 769-1800 to register or email Sally at DurangoNatureStudies.org. Or learn more, go to their website. The 2016 Durango Double, a 2-day running festival, needs volunteers to cover shifts on October 8th and 9th. More than 50 volunteers are needed each day. The event draws more than 500 runners throughout the Four Corners area each year. Volunteers will help at the finish line, keep runners on course, and help track times. Shifts run from 1 to 4 hours on both Saturday and Sunday. The Durango Double entails 2 half marathons, one on the Horse Gulch Trail and another along the Fort Lewis College Rim and Animas River Trail, as well as the Gina Reich Memorial 5K to honor the Durango woman who died in a plane crash north of Silverton in 2001. The Durango Double is sponsored by the Animas Surgical Hospital and benefits the Women's Resource Center, an organization that supports economic independence for women and girls in La Plata County. Email members at wrcdurango.org or call Ashley at 247-1242 to sign up as a volunteer. All of these details are listed on our Facebook page. We are also embedding the YouTube replays of our show there too. Please send your event info to us at dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station at 677-4119 and we'll be sure to get it on air. Again, thanks for tuning in. This program is aired live on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and rebroadcast at 2:30 and 8 p.m. and then again re-aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same sequence at noon, 2:30, and 8 p.m. each day respectively.
You can also re-watch the news anytime as a YouTube video embedded in the DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, and interact with us by posting to that page.
For Jerry Tope and all those working to bring you DCTV and the News at Noon program from Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kendra Cook. Thanks for watching.